And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, how are you this morning? Are you ready for your final week of training camp?
Yes, I am. The countdown is on. 3 more days left, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday,
Right.
we look forward to Arizona coming in for the shared practice. I think it'll be interesting today to see what the tenor of practice is. I would imagine it'll be focused, energetic, but we'll wait and see as Sean Payton lists off his 14 complaints that he had about the trip to San Francisco. So, or Santa Clara.
You got any
Sorry,
guesses? You got any guesses as to what the complaints are? Can you rattle off maybe 3 of the 14?
I sat and actually gave this some thought.
Did you?
Because I'm that kind of pathetic person, right?
Right.
I don't know if I don't know if there were things wrong with the flight. I don't know if there were things wrong with the food. Their accommodations might not have been up to snuff. Who knows what it could have been? But 14 is a pretty good list. I mean, that's a lot of complaining. I'd have to go a long way down the list to come up with 14.
I want to tell you about Roller Auction. The best way to buy what you want at the price you want is at Roller Auction, the leader in Colorado auctions for well over 45 years. Today, the Janus Cycle Group is having an auction for a lathe, bandsaw, air compressor, tool cabinets, bike stands, bike rims, workbenches, hand tools, and more. Online bidding is started at rollerauction.com. To learn about upcoming auctions, go to rollerauction.com. Get what you want at the price you want today. At Roller Auction, time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it is one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue off 36th and Pecos.
Back on the field today, they will practice for a couple of days before the Cardinals close out training camp with a shared practice on Thursday. We know that Sean wasn't very happy about his first-team offense or his first-team defense. But taken in total with the joint practice with the 49ers, are the Broncos a better team today with their work last week?
I mean, aren't they? I mean, yeah. It's a cumulative thing, and sometimes it's one step forward and 2 steps back. I mean, if Sean had a night and it just happened to coincide with the first exhibition game where his ones didn't practice or perform the way that he did, then maybe that's the 2 steps back. I don't know, Eric. You and I have been out there virtually every day. How much do we feel like this team hasn't been progressing? I mean, I feel like, I'm not saying it's always with a quantum leap, but they seem to be getting better as they go. Sometimes you get to a point where maybe you just don't make the type of progress that you want. Okay. I'm not the one making the judgments on how much they're improving moment to moment. Sean Payton is. So you know what? If he's got 14 things that he doesn't like or 1 or 2 things about the first team that he doesn't like, I defer to him.
I want to separate the team just for a minute, not offense versus defense. We certainly saw that after the Peyton Manning era. But I want to separate it first team offense, defense with the rest of the team. Let's partition that out and just take a close look at this for a second. First team offense was not very good. Let's just call it like it is.
Yeah.
First team defense on the first series was not very good against the 49ers. Okay. With that, let's look at the second team offense, third team, whatever, second team, third team defense. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
We're focusing a lot on the first team as well. We should. Those are the guys who you're expecting to play, right?
Right.
But we're talking about a total of 6 series, 3 each for both. Okay. So let's just get that one right out of the way. With that, I think it was Sean Payton or Kyle Shanahan who came out and said about the joint practice, 1 day is more than good enough. If one team kind of dominates the other team, the next day, the other team's going to want payback and probably some fights might break out. Is that a fair assessment of what one of them said?
Yeah. In fact, Kyle said that almost directly.
Okay. So with that, the game on Saturday was day 2 of practice. The 49ers got pushed around, specifically early on in that practice, by the Broncos' first-team offense, first-team defense, and it wouldn't surprise me. I can't tell you for sure. I wasn't in the locker room. Kyle Shanahan said something like, we got embarrassed. And now the second team, you got to play the first team of the Broncos. Go out and give us a good showing. And that's exactly what happened. And maybe, just maybe, I'm not saying the Broncos took their foot off the gas in a preseason game, but they got the work in they needed to. They dominated when they needed to. And the 49ers got a little bit of payback, albeit with the second team guys, which is not a good look.
It's difficult sometimes when we're focused on one thing to remember that it's the whole ball of wax that we need to be paying attention to. Broncos during these games and these practices have still got to continue to build quality depth, right? Mm-hmm. I think they checked the box on that through both of the two practices, the shared practice and the exhibition last weekend. They certainly improved and sharpened their depth. Now, that's not the sexy marquee thing. The marquee is first team, Bo Nix back on the field, all of these things. So, of course, you look at that differently because you want to see how they function. But even with that, and you said 6 series, okay, let's just take the 6 series. 2 of them defensively were outstanding.
Yes.
Right? 2 of them defensively were outstanding. They did get 1 scoring drive on offense. So even if you come away saying 3 of the 6 were either really good or whatever, or average, and the other 3 were a little subpar, is that really a horrible day at the office?
It's not a good look.
It's not. You're right.
It's not a good look because at the end of the day, there were going to be 2 narratives that came out of the game on Saturday having to do with the first team offense and the first team defense. The first narrative was going to be, well, they did exactly what they should have done. They dominated the 49ers second team offense and second team defense. The other narrative is going to be, can you believe these guys can't move the ball and can't get a good job done against a bunch of backups? Those were the only 2 narratives that were going to happen.
Yeah. So
it was a lose-lose.
Yeah.
There was no win-win there for the first team.
Right. Right. No, you're absolutely right. And that's not to craft any excuses. You want to see focus, energy, enthusiasm for being on the field. Take care of your business. You want to see a business-like attitude starting to develop on this team.
Right.
Can this team call its shots and then go out and take care of its business? These are all things that you want to see from a football team. So I understand it. I just don't think it can be the sole focus. And I think we're missing all of the picture. And I don't know what the film is going to look like. I mean, I got a sense for what it's going to look like, obviously. But whatever the interpretation that Sean and his coaching staff have of the film, we'll start finding out a little bit more of today. But, I mean, you got to look at the big picture. And when it's game 1 in the middle of August in an exhibition, to make definitive statements about where this team is, even in the moment, is probably a little bit premature.
I know that every player out there is playing for his job. Yeah. I understand that. But is there a human nature element involved here that we are just ignoring, which, whether you like it or not, in a lot of ways, it's true. Day 1, first team meeting, out of the gate, Sean Payton starts talking about Super Bowl. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's a great goal to have. A lot of teams talk about Super Bowl knowing they're never going to come close to the playoffs, more or less winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you start with that. And then Bo Nix looks pretty crisp in practice, and the defense is doing what it is doing, and you're getting some really good contributions from the young wide receivers, and everything is going really well. Heck, Jeremy Crawshaw, despite the fact that he has been inconsistent at times in practice, he didn't even come close to looking like the guy in the game that we have seen in practice. So is the human nature element potentially, and maybe I'm starting up a conspiracy theory here, that some of these guys were feeling themselves a little bit, feeling pretty good about themselves. The 49ers certainly had plenty of reason to want a little bit of payback from what happened on Thursday, although they played better in practice on Thursday. And now Sean Payton has a teaching moment. Yeah, I can talk about Super Bowl. I can talk about Bo Nix, being a top 5 quarterback in the next couple of years. I'm saying this stuff because I believe in you guys, but you can't feel it and not put in the work and not show up the way you're supposed to every single game, every single practice. Is that the teaching moment?
It's certainly part of the teaching moment, I think, and without being silly about it, and because there is a human element, there always is, and those things come of, using Sean's phrase, demonstrated ability. Well, the demonstrated ability was that the Broncos kind of had their way on Thursday. So you roll out there on Saturday, you're going to get limited time, and San Francisco pops you in the mouth. And so it takes a moment to regain your footing. You can make an argument that the offense really never did regain their footing, and I would listen to that and say, you're right. The defense certainly did regain its footing. So I'm not saying it's much ado about nothing. That would be silly because everything that you do, everything that you put on tape matters. I get that. It does. It matters. This is what you did. But it does provide coaching moments, to your point. And I do think that coaching moments, even at this level, maybe even most at this level, are are important to have. You need to have times when you can get back to center and get to your feet back on the ground and be a little bit more realistic about things, or whatever the case may be. But I think that this is probably falls into the category of a good teaching moment. And I think that we will see that over the next few days. I am sure that yesterday during film and all of the things that they do during their meetings, that there was probably some pretty stern directives delivered. And I won't go overboard on that either, but I think that Sean can certainly make his point strongly. So is he challenging his team this week? How does he go about coaching his football team this week? I think that psychology will be as interesting as anything, based solely on his statements after the game. The 14 check marks. What does that really mean? Those questions will be asked today, I think, after practice.
Okay, The Athletic put out its tiers for quarterbacks heading into this upcoming season, according to the voting of 50 league coaches and executives. Here are your top 5: Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford. You can argue Matthew Stafford. We don't have time to argue Matthew Stafford. Okay? Let's call it like it is. It is a lifetime achievement award for him being at number 5. With that, Tier 2, 9 players: Jaden Daniels, Herbert, Goff, Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Prescott, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. Not on that list, obviously, Bo Nix. Tier 3, 11 quarterbacks described as legitimate starters, but need a heavier run game and or a defensive component to win, and a lower volume of drop-back passing in their offense to suit them. With that, 15, let's go on down. Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith. Where's Bo Nix? He's next, tied with Sam Darnold, then Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Kirk Cousins. Should Bo Nix be higher?
Well, I sense the tongue-in-cheek questioning.
No. Actually, it's really not tongue-in-cheek. If you look at his final 13 games, then yes, he absolutely should be higher. But why does it really matter to you where you're being ranked in the preseason?
Yeah.
It matters where you're ranked at the end of the season.
Yeah. And I think that I would take this list and say where you end up at the end of the season is by far the more important statistic. I think based on this, I would see Bo Nix as a potential top 15 guy, which would put him into the second tier. And and I don't have a problem with comparing a Bo Nix to a CJ Stroud. I don't have a problem with comparing a Bo Nix.
No. CJ Stroud's at number 9,
right,
tied with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but there are guys that I wouldn't have the discussion with,
right,
with Bo Nix in the second tier. I don't think there's anyone behind Bo Nix in the third tier. Sam Darnold, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Kirk Cousins. I mean, there's no one there that I would put on the same level, basically, as Nix at this particular point. And I think there are certainly people that you would at least have a discussion about that are ahead of him, which to me means there is still a really good ceiling for Bo Nix to operate under and areas for him to continue to improve. Remember, this is 50 NFL coaches and executives. So these are guys that are supposedly in the know. I see this as, I thought it was interesting that he was the second rookie that was rated, and we knew that Jaden Daniels would be up there. In fact, Jaden Daniels in the top 6.
Yep.
Pretty impressive, right? But I think that Bo Nix is probably about where he could be a couple of spots higher if you really want to get into the whole ridiculous game of lack of respect or this, that, and the other thing, which I think at this point is silly. He's a guy that's trying to figure out who he is as a professional going into his second year. There's no reason that he doesn't have great room to improve on. And as to your point, and I think it's right on target, get back to me in January. Where are you putting him in January? I want to know that. Because if you're putting him in the second tier in January, you probably like what the Broncos and Bo Nix have done this year.
Well, I can't imagine The Athletic is going to do the same type of poll in January. However, they will do the same type of poll at this time next year. And it's next year's poll that means something.
Right.
Not this one.
Yeah. I firmly believe that Bo Nix will be a second-tier quarterback this time next year.
Yeah.
Obviously, the pool is much deeper through the second and the third tier, but I think that he'll move up significantly into that second tier.
I would agree.
That's it.
Now, if Shedeur Sanders eventually starts for the Cleveland Browns, where will he be ranked next year? And I say that jokingly. I'm kind of trying to segue into the commercial break. For Shedeur, after his performance on Friday, are you moving him up from number 4 on the depth chart because of one game? That's next. Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a new Sea-Doo, 4-wheeler, or the cash award from the Big Wheel Spin, plus $7,500 in cash. The grand prize drawing is the weekend of August 16th, and get finalist entries every 45 minutes from 10 a.m. to midnight during their daily cash drawing, with a locked-up jackpot of $100 or more. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos. Loose slots, great promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
And welcome back. Hot Takes. Goodman and Haertl want to tell you about Nola Jane in Lodo. Great pre- and post-game spot if you're going to see something at Ball Arena, whether it's the Nuggets, the Avalanche, a concert. If you love old-fashioned Cajun cuisine, this is hands down the best in town. Has something for everyone. I know that you do eat fish, Bruce, so blackened catfish is great. Crawfish etouffee is outstanding. I know you can't eat their award-winning sausage gumbo, but that's okay. Plenty of other options for you. Wash it down with a hurricane as well, made with natural juice, not the type of sugar that they use down on Bourbon Street. So it's just a great experience, specifically during the summertime when you can go onto the rooftop patio and sip down that, or drink down, or guzzle down, or funnel down that hurricane, depending on your method of delivery. Go to Nola Jane. You can find them off of Market Street in Lodo. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Nola Jane in the heart of Lodo. No one does Cajun cuisine better than Nola Jane. Go see why their award-winning menu is the best in town.
If I read it correctly, the Browns had practice yesterday, and the quarterback order remained the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you move up Shedeur Sanders after his performance?
Maybe. I think. I mean, although I think, and I know you think this too, depth charts.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Well, okay, fair enough. I won't. Depth charts this time of the year are probably worth the paper they're printed on, but okay. See R.J. Harvey being the starting back, but 5th on the depth chart in the game on Saturday for the Broncos. All I care about is getting him the number of snaps that I think that he needs to get, because if you're the coaching staff of the Browns, you at least saw something on Friday that I'm not going to say amount to him proving it, but at least in the moment,
didn't look too big for him.
Yeah, it wasn't too big for him. So, and we know what the moment was. It was just a start. It wasn't a middle or a finish. We understand that. But I would at least be intrigued with what he played, how he played on Friday, and would hope that you can continue to develop that. But as far as pecking order, Just show me the number of reps he's getting. That's what I want to know.
We here in Denver are more than familiar with quarterback controversies, quarterback competitions. It's not really a competition out in Cleveland because Joe Flacco has the job. The Browns were a 3-win team last season. Does anybody reasonably believe, even the guys in that locker room, believe that Joe Flacco is going to win them a new Super Bowl title?
No.
Does anybody truly believe, with the strength of the AFC, that the Browns are even going to get a wild card?
No.
Correct. So why you starting a 40-year-old when you drafted 2 kids in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders? At the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders, at the very least, will wind up number 3 on the depth chart, and they will likely keep all 3 of those quarterbacks on their roster. Kenny Pickett is probably going to be the odd man out. Yeah. It's going to be one of the 2 veterans. The problem that Kevin Stefanski has is, how do you tell your veterans, as they are preparing for the start of the season,
right,
just want to let you know, thanks for all your hard work, but we're going to see what we have here in our rookie quarterbacks, and there could be a few major hiccups along the way.
What a nightmare quarterback has really turned into in Cleveland, starting with the whole Deshaun Watson thing and then moving on now to the point of instability where they
Whoa. You forgot about Johnny Manziel.
Well,
he was pre-Deshaun Watson. That was a Jimmy Haslam pick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, we can go even further back, no question. But as far as where they relate now, to be in the situation that they are in right now with a, $230 million guaranteed quarterback that won't play a down this year and that has been an abject failure on virtually every account in terms of performance, and you are counting on Joe Flacco, and no disrespect to Joe Flacco, but he's Joe Flacco right now. I mean,
no disrespect to Joe Flacco,
buddy, and have 5 guys in camp. How can you even be in this situation?
Say it one more time.
I mean, Joe Flacco had a moment.
Yep.
Had a few moments in this league where Joe Flacco had more than a few moments in this league where being Joe Flacco was just fine. But when you get to where Joe Flacco is now in his career, I would say that it's not a great option to have at this point.
No. And listen, at the end of the day, all of us are going to root for kids from Colorado. I will. I want them to succeed. For as much as people think I've venom towards Shedeur Sanders, I have a problem with his attitude. I don't have a problem with his game. I'm not a talent evaluator. You know, you and I have talked about this many times, that the Sanders family, they celebrate 2 holidays around Christmas time, Christmas and Festivus. Festivus, made famous by Seinfeld, is a made-up holiday, but it's the airing of grievances. And the Sanders family loves to air their grievances. The over-under for wins for us a couple seasons ago is only 4.5. Well, we'll show you. Do you believe now? Right? Keeping receipts. Goes after Ed Werder, right? And then this season, he goes after Sean Keeler, or I should say last season. Here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to this whole incident with Tony Grossi, who is a longtime radio sportscaster in Cleveland. Never even met the guy. I have no idea if he said personal things about Shedeur Sanders. If he did, shame on him. Never make it personal. I like to feel that I don't make it personal, but that is certainly up for debate. But they tend to complain a lot, and they read all their press clippings, and they keep receipts who they're going to go after to say, you were wrong. You can live your life that way, I suppose, but Shedeur has learned that from his father, because Dion does the same exact thing. Look at Jay Norvell. That was as benign as it gets. And Deion Sanders turns it into this family feud where Jay went after my mom, and now we're going to go after him and his team. And then they crossed a line, which to me is nauseating. They became grifters out of it, where they sold sunglasses. They profited off of it, right? Shedeur learned it from his dad. His dad is one of the greatest athletes of all time. So I suppose when you're that great, you can say whatever you want to. And Deion has always been that guy, and good for him if that's what he wants to do. But eventually it becomes tiresome that you're always complaining about something or somebody has always wronged you. It gets exhausting after a while. Just play. Let your play do the talking. And then more people will say after that preseason game, as an example, see, I told you, he wasn't a 5th round pick. He should have been higher. But build a case for it. Don't do it over one game. And the whole thing started with Tony Grossi, the radio guy from Cleveland, when Grossi said some things that offended Shedeur Sanders. And Grossi walked up to him, and it was one of two things with Shedeur, to be perfectly honest with you. Either he was angry, although he didn't seem angry when you listen to him talk. He kind of said it with a smile on his face a little bit, or he's whining. It's one of the two. I'll let anybody out there choose which one it is, but it is one of the two. How come you're not saying nice things about me? How come you always say bad things about me? Could you imagine if every single athlete kept receipts and went after every single media member that said something negative about them? They would never be able to practice, lift weights, or watch film. And oh, by the way, in the business that we work in, we are criticized roundly as well. Right now, there's something on Instagram and Facebook. It has gone viral over something that I said yesterday on the show with Nate Jackson. I do a show on Guerrilla Sports Mondays and Thursdays. This thing has spread like wildfire. And now, Bruce and Alex, I just want to let you know that you are friends with a white supremacist and a racist. Sorry, I didn't think I was, but I appreciate people pointing that out to me that I am. That's all I really have to say.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover. Here is all I would say about this. Well, I don't know all of the particulars of the communication back and forth between the two. And so I don't feel qualified. But here's the thing. To.
Hey, Bruce, okay, because it seems like
but I know, Eric, I know, but you're trying to point me in a direction. I will just say this. Here, I like people that just go out and take care of their business, and everything else will take care of itself. But that's me. It obviously works for the family Sanders. It may not be always what you wish or want for the young man, but that's really not my purvey. It's not my business. I would prefer, and I think he did it was a nice start last Friday night to prove naysayers wrong. He's got a lot more distance to go, and I'm sure that he's the first one that knows that. But everybody has different ways to express themselves, and the indignation sometimes that they take from remarks or perceived slights are interesting to me. But I guess everyone's entitled to interpret things in their own fashion. Sometimes I think it's counterproductive, and sometimes I think that it is distracting.
Shedeur Sanders did a great thing in Cleveland. There was a fire at an apartment complex, and he flew back to Cleveland to help those people. I think that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Good on him. Is it good on him to get a pair of speeding tickets way over the limit over the course of 10 days? Probably not the best look. Apparently, Myles Garrett followed suit, and Shedeur has rubbed off on him because he just got a major speeding ticket over 100 miles an hour. And I'm not trying to suggest that Shedeur Sanders is responsible for this, because I am not.
Yeah.
The Tony Grossi thing needs to be put into context. If this was a one-off, I don't think anybody would say anything. But it's a history with the Sanders family that if you say something negative about you, they will go after you or they will pull your credential, Sean Keeler. They want to control the message. That's fine. You have every right to try and control the message. And Deion Sanders apparently has it in his contract or something thereof where he could ban Sean Keeler from a press conference or from games. But Deion Sanders can't do that in Cleveland. And to me, that was a concern wherever Shedeur was going to go. The dad can't protect you. You got to handle it on your own. But again, let's look at the history here. Over under 4.5 wins. Do you believe us now? Do you believe in us now? Here's our receipts. You were wrong. Jay Norvell. Honestly, you know Jay as well as I know Jay. Could not be any nicer of a guy. Turned in what Jay said about wearing a hat inside into a flashpoint that became huge national news. And then the Sanders family profited off of it by selling sunglasses to the student section. That's number 2. Then you have the Sean Keeler thing. Not happy about what Sean Keeler wrote. Sean has even said to me, he goes, maybe I crossed the line a little bit. At least he owns it, right? But to ban a guy and to treat him like garbage, fine. If that's what you want to do, you have the right to do that. But this is a history. This is a pattern. This is what the Sanders family does. So as a one-off, the Tony Grossi thing is no big deal. When you combine it, when you look at the history over the last 2 years, it's one complaint after the next if you are not bowing at the altar of Sanders.
Well, has anyone stopped to think that that's maybe why Shedeur was a 5th-round pick, or at least part of the reason why he is a 5th-round pick?
And didn't you and I have this conversation that after he did go in the 5th round, what did everybody say? Even the people who support him. Well, he was drafted in the 5th round. Maybe this will humble him.
Yeah, I think that is, I don't know about humbling. I just think it's kind of.
But let him understand where he is in the lexicon of the NFL. He is a 5th round pick.
Right.
And some of it certainly has to do with things he has said, things his father said. Mm-hmm. Let's not put our head in the sand on that. Right. Some of it had to do with talent. But think about this for a second, Bruce. The Sanders family has the market cornered in the world of sports. And I mean sports history. The Sanders family is the only family in the history of sports that could actually get the media fawning and falling over and talking about a guy who was picked in the 5th round and is the 4th-string quarterback. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Absolutely.
Would you ever even consider asking for an interview with the Broncos' 4th-string quarterback?
Well, I think it says a lot more about the people covering the program than the people that are producing the.
He's a lightning rod, and you know what? The family is a lightning rod because they say a lot of things, and they're talented and they're smart, certainly for sure, and they sure as hell know how to market. I'll tell you that. I mean, did you see the Nike immediately put out an ad on Shedeur after a preseason game?
Right. Yeah. Right on.
They're not dumb.
No, they get it. And just because others have issues with the way that they do things doesn't mean they're going to change the way they do things.
Listen,
yeah,
we talked about this with Sean Payton. When you say we're talking Super Bowl around here, when you say my quarterback is going to be top 5 in the next 2 years, put a bullseye on your back. You just do. The bottom line is this: make sure that when you write the check with your mouth, your ass can cash it.
Absolutely.
And so far at CU, they are certainly headed in the right direction.
Yep.
But I think it got off to a bumpy start, needless to say. With Deion after the game against TCU, then they win some games in a row. Everyone's feeling great. And then the trapdoor, falls out. They finish well below 500. Did anybody in the CU media say to Dion after the season was over, should we believe you now? Was anybody that petty, that spiteful, that aggressive?
I hope not.
Right. Well, that's my point.
Yeah, it's kind of beneath, should be beneath people, but I don't know. It's a different day and age. People react differently. There's anger. There's so many things that in the world that are just that manifest themselves in unfortunate ways. So
I'll give you one more thing, and you were not here for the Tim Tebow circus.
no.
If you did not support Tim Tebow as the Broncos quarterback, you hated Christians. You just did.
Yeah.
You don't like him because he's Christian, right? And now with Shedeur Sanders, you don't like him because you don't like black people. And you're a white supremacist. And you're a racist. Has nothing to do with color of their skin. When you say something, the media is going to gravitate towards it. The fans are going to gravitate towards it. Words can be powerful. Actions can be powerful. How you react to things can be powerful. And I hope for Shedeur that he just plays football. And I'm not saying he's seeking out the spotlight, but I will say one more thing to piss off more people in Cleveland. The Browns PR staff needs to do a better job of not putting their fourth-string quarterback on a podium. Legitimate NFL PR staffs would not do that. Would not make their fourth-string quarterback available, no matter who it is. But that's the way the Browns roll. The Broncos wouldn't do it, would they?
No.
If Shedeur Sanders was drafted by the Broncos, how many times do you think Shedeur would talk to the media in training camp? Once? Maybe?
Maybe once. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe once. But, yeah, well, the Browns are the Browns.
The Browns are the Browns.
The Browns are the Browns, and they have an interesting situation that they are negotiating right now. But at some point, they're not going to have 5 quarterbacks. And at some point, there will be more clarity there.
Right.
I just hope that Shedeur Sanders took a strong enough step forward that he continues to be in the mix, and I have every confidence that he is in the mix. So why wouldn't
all I would say is stop worrying about what people are saying about you. Let your actions prove them wrong. Stop saying, why are you saying bad things about me? Just walk by with a smirk on your face or walk away from Tony Grossi and say, I'll show you. I'll show you. But don't do it after one game like the TCU game. It was the same thing. Do you believe me now? You see what I did in the first preseason game? Do you believe me now? TCU game, do you believe me now? They take victory laps before there's enough data to have an educated decision on how good a player will be or how good a team will be.
Yeah, there are plenty of things for him to grow off of from Friday night. I mean, everyone will think about the 2 touchdowns. There were plenty of other things that are going to be dissected there too. It was a good start. We live in a day and an age where there is always a spotlight regardless. Always a spotlight. Social media has done that.
Right.
You are always going to be recorded. There's always going to be a record of things. And maybe in years, in generations past, those types of confrontations or discussions, whatever, wouldn't have even been water on the duck's back. But now it is overly amplified to a point where it becomes an issue unnecessarily.
I will never tell a parent how to parent their children. All I can say is I think you and I are in lockstep on this. If my kid was keeping receipts and then telling you about it and complaining that you're criticizing me, I would say as a parent to my child, let your actions do the talking. That will shut everybody up. But the minute you open your mouth, everyone's going to be talking about what you said, and it'll be split right down the middle. Just be humble, do your work, be the best you can be, and things will work out for you. Just stop talking about it. Just stop talking about it. That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.